All right. It is another Wednesday. This time we're doing it early in the evening. I am your producer and your stand-in host, Denzel Snipes. Shout out to the original host of the show. He's got some business down in Mexico. He's getting hitched. Congratulations to the Ellises. All right, but he'll be back actually in about 2 weeks. So you're gonna get me and host again next week as well. We're here to talk some Cubs baseball. We're going to get the crew in here. We'll have a bit of a roundtable format tonight. So we'll go ahead and bring in Mr. Jacob Christner himself. And also, how you doing, by the way?
Listen, I'm doing great. And as far as my marriage, I should have put it on Sideline.
If he would have live streamed the wedding, that would have been great.
Hey, it would have been ratings.
And also, we're going to bring in Nick, don't compare me to Ultimate Warrior Bodkins.
As I call him, Hot Bodkins.
Boys, what's up? How y'all doing this evening?
Doing good. Yep. You know what? We actually, I want to get your short take on this because me and Jacob had a discussion about this on Top Rope Talk, and it was on why. Okay, so Halloween Havoc '98. Remember Hogan Warrior 2? And we had a discussion on why it shouldn't have happened. And just real quick, what's your take on that? Do you think it should have happened or not?
Probably shouldn't have. I mean, Warrior at that point in time was way past of whatever he could do. And WCW was just trying to create money, right? Like that's their thing, was just let's recreate something that happened in the WCW or WWF at the time, and let's get Hogan his win back. And it was all all BS, really. Probably should have never happened, but they just tried to correct the wrong. A lot of things in WCW shouldn't have happened, let's be honest.
Down the stretch, yeah, absolutely. Agreed. Well, we are going to get into some... Oh, by the way, if you all are just checking us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and also DBTV and Stream TV replays every single week. So hit that like and subscribe button to Sideline Sports. We got great materials, not just us. It's also the Gauntlet. It's also the Sideline Sports Show. First and 56, pushing back with Kobe White. You name it, we got it. So, now it's time for Cubs ball. It's been a bit of a rough one, but also with, a little bit of redemption last night, but we'll get to that. So we're going to start off with the Rockies-Cubs series. So the Rockies took 2 of 3. But the Cubs did get the W in Game 1. Yan Gomez had a go-ahead 2-run single in the 9th. Bodkins, what you got?
I mean, I don't know about you guys. The panic meter here is at 11. I mean, we are DEFCON. I don't know what the highest DEFCON is, if that's red or whatever. But right now, this last week of stretch, you lose 2 out of 3 to a last-place team. That's a team that we got to go in and take 2 out of 3 and sweep. Then we're going to talk about the Diamondback series and how we just let them right back into the playoff race. Like, we needed to handle business this last week. And Denzel, you're over here talking about redemption last night. Like, that's a team we're supposed to beat the brakes off of. They're the freaking Pirates. So, we need to handle business, and we're not handling business.
To be fair, and y'all have heard me say this, in the final month, win the games you're supposed to. Every win is going to count. Whether you're supposed to beat them or not, every win's going to count. That's why I see it as a bit of redemption. The Cubs needed that win last night.
We did, but we're supposed to win. That's the thing. That's not redemption. Redemption would have been if we would have bounced back and took 2 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks. Like, that's redemption. We just got back and we finally beat a team that's not worth a dang. We should have beat the Rockies. Where's our pitching? Our pitching has been atrocious this whole week.
Interesting. Yeah, and shout out to Tyler Ingham, because I was like, hey, I texted him last night. I was like, hey, Smiley's on the mound.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah. But he was like, I hate Smiley. And I was like, wow. I was like, what's wrong with Smiley, dude? But I want to swing it over to Jacob and get your thoughts about this series.
My panic mode's at 1, but also my excitement level's at 1, so it stays the same. Just being truthful. You've heard me with David Ross. You also heard me, and you've heard me say this too, Bodkins. You heard me say this. I said the biggest things that we've had to do is we have to go take these. We have to take these games. We have to destroy them and put the boot on the throat of the teams we needed to. We weren't doing that.
We're not doing that. You're right.
And we weren't doing it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. We weren't doing it then either. It was going to come back to bite us because this is what happens when you keep leaving them around. You're not going to get those lucky hits. You're not going to get those pitching. Truthfully, the pitching's about the same as it's been all year. I mean, other than Steele. I'm just saying, other than Steele. And it's like the pitching's better on the – and here's the thing. I'm not going to say awful. I'm going to say inconsistent. The reason I say that is because Steele has been Cy Young worthy, but he's been Cy Young worthy. But Hendricks is, I mean, you'll get your 9 in a row. He gets 9 in a row that he's punched out like nothing. Then that bad inning, and then he'll get another. He still has a quality start in 80% of his starts this year, so he's there, but he's not going to get there much longer. He's throwing more pitches. And like I said, he's throwing more pitches to set up the hitters like the other times. So it is time to let him go while he still has those 6-7 innings like he usually gets.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
You just look at this series, right? Like game 2, Chris Bryant hits a home run. He has 3 RBIs. I mean, he probably hasn't had 3 RBIs in a game almost all year. And then like we score 4 runs. That's a game you got to win. Like you score 4 runs in a game, that's a game you're supposed to win.
Right.
And you look at the
Rockies. 4 runs can be an inning there anytime you want.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're still supposed to win that. You know what I mean? Then we give up 7 the next game, like in the last game. Like we can't. You're not going to win any games giving up 7 runs.
See, this is the point I've always made. I remember talking to somebody and saying, boy, I would love to be a GM of the Rockies and literally just turn the whole thing over, let them have 30 wins, and just keep building because it's that stadium. To me, in that idea, it's that stadium. It's just the idea that you can bunt a home run there. You get 4 or 5 runs in an inning, and you can be a minor leaguer and do the same thing and build around. I would love that idea. But, see, they just keep staying stagnant all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like they stay stagnant, but that's the thing with the Cubs is, like I said, there's no panic mode on me and there's no excitement mode on me. It's because it is David Ross. And I don't expect much of David Ross. I will have the excitement mode when we see because David Ross, I think, sort of improving, but he should have been in the minor leagues or a third base coach before he did this in the first place. Mm-hmm. The Cubs need especially with the talent they have, they need a star manager now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, like they did with 2003, and they went to go get Dusty when they never had a star manager. Mm-hmm. See, it'll be easy to get a star manager and all this time now because they've had like 4 of them. They've had 4 since then.
Well, I mean, a couple of them didn't work out. Lou Piniella didn't. I mean, he made it.
He had 2 division titles.
I was going to say we made the playoffs twice. And then we got, obviously, Joe Madden, who led us to the promised land. And now we have, now we haven't had a star manager since him. I mean, David Ross.
I was thinking from Dusty to the thing. You're right, 3. But I'm just saying, it's like, but I'm saying it had 3. It'll be easy to get a star manager now. See, when they got the star manager, which was Dusty, they didn't have star managers.
No, I know.
Don Baylor.
The Don Baylor, Jim Riggleman days. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then don't forget Bruce Kim. Yeah, those years. You know, I remember that year when he took over halfway through. Bruce Kim had 12 in a row after he won 12 games in a row after the All-Star break. Actually got like 1 game under 500. All the excitement, and then they lost 8 of 10.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Well, we do want to move on to our next series here, and that is the Arizona said the very one that Bachus was talking about. But I mean, game 2, you let them off the hook in 13 innings. Like Bachus, what was that all about, man?
Again, man, you give up 7 runs here. You can't give up that many runs. Like we scored 6 runs. That's. I tell you guys. Almost week, like you score 4 runs or more in a baseball game, you should win that game. Your pitchers got to 3 runs or less is what you ask from your pitchers for the most part. Like, and we didn't do that. Saturday they scored 7. Sunday they scored 6. Like Friday they scored 6. Like they're averaging 6 runs a dang game here. So like we're not going to win very much if our pitching's not. And Steele didn't pitch great in this series his last time out. You're allowed to have 1 hiccup game or 2, because he's been our ace. But when we needed him to have that Cy Young moment I felt like to end the skid that we were kind of on, and that didn't happen in this series. And we let the Diamondbacks right back in the playoff when we could have just cut the head off the snake and secured our spot. And instead, now we're looking at the wild card the third spot instead of being heavily favored in that second spot.
Yep, and more on that here in a minute. When I'm swinging over to Jacob and get your thoughts on this. I mean, it's like the Arizona. The last two series have pretty much had the Cubs number, and granted, Justin Steele, of course he isn't going to win them all, but I still got him as a Cy Young contender, no doubt about it. But
I do too. Yeah, I do too. We needed him to be like that level where you know what I mean? Like just that, then it's growing pains. Like he's a young pitcher still, but like Greg Maddux or somebody like that, or, somebody like on that type of level is not going to, every fifth day is going to give their team a chance to win. And we just didn't have that in that series.
Yeah. Like you look at like a Maddux or even a Big Z, like they win games like this.
Yeah.
Whenever you need them. But I want to swing over and Jacob, get your thoughts real quick.
Go ahead. Finish yours, bud.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say Arrieta, right? Like Arrieta, like, in that Cy Young year, like we knew no matter what, when he got the ball in that 2015, 16 year, like we're golden. Like all we got to do is score maybe 2 to 3 runs and we're going to win this game. And we just Steele didn't give us that. And I'm not trying to hate on the kid at all. Like I still think he could probably win the Cy Young, but we just need him to be that level because the drop off from Steele to everybody else is, enormous.
Absolutely. Jake, on you.
And another one, bringing up Steele, another one right here is like the guy that helped us win our World Series, Hendricks. He, being honest, through this whole struggle, he's the most consistent pitcher, but he's only 1-0 with two complete games.
Yeah.
Not complete games. I'm sorry, not complete games. 2 no-hit and 2 no starts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it doesn't help that the bullpen is, Alizé's out right now. Yeah. So like the bullpen is back to being the not so good bullpen. We were hot. Our bullpen was doing well. So, and now our bullpen's not, off the kind of rails right now. We need to get it back on track in a hurry, or else we're going to be outside looking in.
Oh, yeah, about saying 2 no decisions, excuse me. And that's the most consistent pitcher at that time. Well, good for him. It's like that means he had 3 quality starts. One of them was a win. But like I was saying here, one of the things that happened is like all of these games that we had against the Pirates, you had the Rockies at Wrigley, you had these before, and the Cubs were eking out wins then, eking them out. I was saying during these shows, we're eking out against bad teams. Mm-hmm. We have to get away from these guys. Like last night's 14-1 win. Last night's 14-1 win is what we should have been doing 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
All the time.
I mean, you don't got to score 14, but just, a definition of,
just
6-1, 6-2.
Put the boot on the throat early. And it's like, I just add on to it. And it's like, you should have been doing that then. And it's like, we're doing it now when it could possibly be late. And those are the things. It's like, you got to see, this is why I said 1,000 times, no, I don't believe that the Cubs would have a chance in the playoffs against someone like the Braves. They are monsters.
Oh, they had no chance against the Braves.
Yeah, they put boots on throats. It was like 9-3 they won last night against the Phillies, a good team. It's like they put boots on throats and put it early, and then if they lose, okay, you'll see that 11-0 score once in a blue moon. You'll get that, and they come back with 15 runs in 2 games. And it's like they just don't panic. They go after the thing. You're not going to take a team like that if you can't beat these small teams that you've got to beat in the first place. And the thing about this is right now the Cubs are up 1-0 in the 3rd inning. If they could take the series, but even after tomorrow, but it's like I said, how is it too late considering how many are starting to get hot in that wild card?
Yeah.
No,
and then that struggle that we had is going to kill our division. So that's the whole point. It's like, is it too late? That's the question. It's like this blowout should have been 6 weeks ago, like I said.
Yeah,
Yeah, Miami's a half game. We're in the third spot. Miami's a half game, and then the Reds are even a game and a half.
Yeah.
yeah. We'll actually get to that in a minute. We're going to go on to our next topic, and that is on last night's game. 14-1. Canario was his second at bat. Corks a grand slam over the wall. He ended 2 of 4 with a grand slam, 5 total RBIs and 1 run. Bakins, give it to us. What's going on?
I mean, that's the type of game we needed, right? We were on a 5-game losing streak. So that's the type of game you need to say, wake the bats up. Pitching did well. And again, we're supposed to beat they're the lowly Pirates. So let's not that's a definition of hey, let's beat these guys. If we're going to be a playoff team, we got to beat the crap out of the Pirates these next 3 games. Then we get the Rockies again, and hopefully we can right some wrongs at home instead of not playing at course. So that's kind of my thoughts.
All right. And no, absolutely, and as Jacob mentioned, they're up 1-0 right now. This is a series that you got to take, but this is what counts down the stretch. It's winning. It's like any sport, NFL, NBA. Beat the team you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Jacob, your thoughts on last night's game?
Well, one of the biggest things that we're seeing too is the fact that others are starting to step up. It was, for instance, Bellinger was 327, now down to 311, which is still good hit batting average. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler. I saw that. It's like he was 327 to 311. That doesn't mean anything. It's that everybody struggles in 162. He'll be fine and all that stuff, but people are starting to pick it up. Look at Seiya Suzuki. He's picking it up. And it's like the only difference is tonight we've got Mastrobuoni in there. It's like, okay. Okay. It's like, is this one of those Mom wants him to give him a chance. But his mom complained that he didn't get enough playing time, so he's getting a chance. He's done it on. It's like you have to wonder with that. It's like, but either way, though, it is what it is. It's like I just say I want to see 3 blowouts if they're going to sweep them. I want to see 3 blowouts get to the Rockies. Hopefully, it's like because they have got to give this point. They still have a chance, but if they're continuing to eke out these type of games, say they won 4 out of 6 or 5 out of 6, and they eked out 3 of them, it's going to make my point if they beat it and go get the Braves, get murdered.
Yeah.
That's going to make the point. It's like they're eking out too many. Last night was a rarity.
Yeah, absolutely. And more on the Braves one in a minute. We're going to go on to our next topic, and that is that the Cubs now have the 6th seed. They dropped from the 5th to the 6th seed. Marlins half game back for the final NL wild card spot. Bakins, your take on this. What's going on with the Cubs down the stretch? Think they can still pull it off?
I hope so, man. It's going to be hard. We got some teams that Miami's playing really good right now. We seems like the Reds just continue to linger around. And can we get back? I'd like to get back into the 5th seed. But I just don't know, man. It's going to be tough. We've got to beat these teams that we're supposed to beat, the Pirates, the Rockies, this weekend. We've got to handle business. We had an abysmal week last week. So can we turn it around and now win, 6 out of the next, 7 or so?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, and actually, and I'm gonna swing it over to Jacob on this one because the Diamondbacks were behind the Cubs, and then they went on their streak, and it was those series dominating the Cubs that now got them ahead of them, and then now you got the Reds and the Marlins staring you down. Good, thing that the Marlins are down right now. But I want to swing it to Jacob and then get your thoughts about this.
Well, I'll tell you this: no matter who wins the Cubs and the Marlins, both of them have a humongous future. Both of them. Cubs are a manager away. Marlins are a big name free agent away. It's like because Kim Ng really brought it to Marlins, which I thought she'd have 2 years after. I said this on one of the shows with the South Florida. I thought she had 2 years with the way because I was shocked she got 30. I thought with the way they let go of Derek Jeter, and that was his pick. I thought she had 2 years, and then when I saw the third, I'm like, she's got to do it, and she has. She's built this team. But the Cubs are built. They're built for a long term, but they're a manager away. David Ross, you're getting no farther. They love him here's the thing. They love him as a personal thing, but it's kind of like loving Lovie Smith as an offensive coach. You love him. You want to do something for him. You do. You get whatever you can get out of it. You're still not getting 40 points a game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Botkins? You're not. You'll love him. Your love will get you farther. That your love and your desire will get you farther than you probably would have gotten. But your talent won't. Your talent will stop you and plateau you somewhere. And that's what it is with David Ross. They can love him. He's a great guy. Plus, he's going to know baseball because of being a catcher. But he should have started in the minors. He should have. I would be. See, that's the whole thing about this is like, you got to remember Brian Snitker, how many years in the minors, and now he dominates in majors. It's like if David Ross would somehow find a way and get out and find a way to get a World Series and prove all of us wrong, that will end the Brian Snitker stories forever. They will just start bringing every Adam Wainwright, every name as a manager in the whole wide world. As a manager, they will start doing it right out from retirement.
Yeah,
you will not see him. You will not see them go to the minors anymore and do all that. It will be done if David Ross figured a way. If not, and he's done, we'll see the same thing as we did.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And now I want to move on to our next topic, and that is outside of Wrigley. So Shohei Ohtani, has had successful elbow surgery. He's expected to be hitting by opening day next year and pitch by 2025. So will he be wearing Angels red upon his return? What are your thoughts, Nick?
Absolutely not. I don't think so. I mean, there's too many teams out there that have open up the bankroll that are going to be a little bit better. Watch out for the Mariners. Watch out for our Chicago Cubs. Maybe the Cubs make a play for Ohtani.
Suzuki.
Yep, we could be maybe with Dark Horse. Seems like he does want to stay on the West Coast. So watch out for the Dodgers could be a play. The Yankees could always still be there. I know they're not a West Coast team, but I don't think if he's smart at all, he's not. Look at Mike Trout. I mean, you just go talk to your buddy Mike Trout, and Mike Trout probably wishes he never signed that huge money to stay in Anaheim because they're a crap organization. They're just not going to get it done. And if he wants to win, then he needs to go someplace else. And I don't know if he's going to pitch or not. And that's, and who knows. But, the Giants are a good pick too. Anybody. I just don't think the Angels are it. They're not.
Yeah. I've said for so long, and Jacob, you've heard me say this before I swing it over to you, that the Angels have had who a lot of people will call the two best players in baseball, in Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. And they have not sniffed a playoff.
And zero playoff wins.
Zero playoff wins. Now I get it. The Astros have been running the AL West. But you should be able to get a wild card. Hell, Seattle did it last year. You know what I mean? But and even the A's made it in 2019.
Artie Moreno sucks. That's why.
There you go. And on that, go ahead and take it away. Your thoughts on this?
For one thing, he's never going to pitch ever again. Or if he does, he's a hybrid. It's over. Let me say this, because he's in 2024, he will be hitting, which I completely agree with. And by the end of 2024, he'll be about 330 to 350 average. He will know that he's not pitching. He will see that he's not wearing out like the normal thing you would when you're pitching. He will see that he's got more stamina, and he will stop. Because here's the deal. This is the truth of everything. It is so nice and fun to see him pitch and hit because it's nice for SportsCenter. It's nice for ESPN. It's great for TikTok highlights. It's wonderful to see him hit 3 for 4 with 3 doubles or 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and a home run. And then he struck out 10. So fun to watch. And then, see, that's true, Tyler.
Yeah.
But then guess what?
They've been dead since the Angels in the outfield have left,
Yeah. And see, when he starts hitting 330 to 350, and he doesn't have those 0 for 12 shots like he will have at times, or he's not striking out as much, and he's got this, and he's got all the stamina in the world with this great batting eye that he has, and he won't, like I said, he won't strike out as much. He will stop pitching. He will just decide himself. Mm-hmm. He will maybe a hybrid pitcher, Maybe like in a playoff game, maybe like relief here and there. You like if
Yeah,
you
I
need
was
a
gonna say, why don't you make him a closer?
well, yeah, you could do that. But here's the thing: think about what you could use for him in one of those blowout games. You got a guy who's pitched. Normally, you're using your dang second baseman that throws 47. You have this guy, and you can do this. You can do this in blowouts. You can do this in blowouts and be able to get to this and be. And I mean, something like that. And he can pitch, and you're not using your second or third baseman.
Right.
You can do those things, but it's like if your team's good enough, you won't have to use him a lot. But the point I'm saying is, guess what? He's never hit 300. This is the first 300 year. Watch him when he has no pitching. It'll be about 330 to 350. Then he will be done with pitching, or full time.
Right, absolutely. Well, we're gonna go on to our.
I asked professional baseball player about the closing thing, right? Because I was like, well, they can make him a closer reliever or something, right? So I said, why not make him a closer? And he was a professional baseball player and played in the minors and pitched and everything. And he was telling me, he's like, the only problem is like, where do you go? Like, if you're bad in the 8th, you got to go warm up in the 9th, like in the pen and things like that. Like, you don't have the time to do that necessarily. Like, it's a whole timing thing. Or maybe, I was like, well, maybe they go down into the dugout and warm up that way. Like, I thought about that as well. And I don't know, like, logistically, if that could happen. It's kind of what I was
see. And the point I'm making with all of this, and you're right on that, but the point I'm making of all of this is a really, really good hitter. This is not just a home run hitter. He's a 280 to 290 hitter, no matter what we say. When I was comparing him to Babe, and everybody wants to try to do that, I wasn't saying he's a crappy hitter. I was saying Babe hit 367 times, at least 367 times. He didn't do that. But that doesn't mean he's not a great hitter. He hits 280 and he just hit 300 for the first time. Wait till he's not pitching. Wait till he's not wearing it on pitching every 5 days. Just wait. You have no idea what you're missing here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on to our Hot Cup time machine. Our next topic here. So, even though it was a losing effort, but an amazing game nonetheless. So on May 17th of 1979, the Phillies beat the Cubs 23-22 in 10 innings in a game that totaled 50 hits, 70 base runners, and 11 home runs.
That sounds like the Rockies month.
It sounds like they left their pitchers at home. Like they just dropped the ball like out of the sky, a helicopter or something, and then they just or a T-ball game even. It's like a T-ball game. But Nick, your thoughts on a game like this?
I mean, I feel like I've seen something close to the game like this once before because the Cubs have scored 20 because I remember when the Bears are awful, which is very often, and I was like, man, the Cubs are probably going to score more 20 run games than the Bears offense will all season. So there's that. But
yeah, absolutely. Definitely an offensive loaded game. Jacob, real quick, your thoughts on this?
Oh, my Lord. I watched the game during COVID. I finally saw the whole thing during COVID. Like, we had a big TV, used YouTube. I have a big TV downstairs. Everything was beautiful. It was to see that. That was a ridiculous game. 8 runs in the first by the Phillies, 6 by the Cubs. Keep going. No one could pitch. The wind was blowing out that day like a mad dog. And then what do you think? It's like, of course, the Cubs blow it in the 10th. Give up their the 23rd run in the 10th inning. Of course they do because it's the bullpen, just like it's been for the last 100 years. But they do that, and then they get two guys on to have a chance at winning, and they hit a double play.
Oh yeah.
but it's like, and it's like it was funny, but that's what the old Wrigley was fun like that. They weren't good teams. There were 72 wins every year, 68 wins, whatever. They weren't good, but you had the rooftops right above the bar. You had, you had a bunch of drunk hooligans. And see, these are drunk hooligans that weren't fighting like you see in Miami and New England. That ridiculousness.
Yeah.
They're just drunk and wanted to be friendly and drunk. They were mad at the Cubs losing all the time. But there was an order to Wrigley. There was an order to Wrigley all the way through. See, Wrigley's always going to have it because of the ivy. But I mean, when you have ads and you have ads and you have a real scoreboard now, and you have all stuff, it's not a movable scoreboard anymore, like by a person.
Mm-hmm.
It is the world that we are in, and it's the world we had to go to. It's still something you miss. You miss Harry. You miss Harry Carey. You miss everybody. Everybody having a little bit of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And those were that type of game. And you could have this type of game in between the 7-1 losses.
It's a really fun one.
Yeah, you could have that, and it's like every once in a blue moon you have your 1969, your 1984, your 89. The fun of Wrigley and those years before Dusty. And I'll say this: you never know. You never know when. You never know where. There's big seasons coming. See you, Tyler. Appreciate you. Say hi to the little one. Yeah. It's like to the little Nirvana shirt.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, but real quickly, you never knew when, you never knew where. Most of the time it was 70 some odd wins, but you never knew where. That was the excitement because you'd see that 1969. Then nothing again all the way to 84. No one saw it after 83's terrible year and everything. Then 84 hits. Then you think you got something great in 85, and then it was all the way to July, and then they bombed. You just didn't know, but there was an aura to that.
Absolutely. And so we're going to wrap things up here with our weekly Cub or Dud. The upcoming 2 series versus Colorado and Atlanta will determine the Cubs making the playoffs. Now, I'm talking, like winning the series, okay? Or maybe they win one of the series or they lose both but just avoid the sweep. But I mean, what do you think, Cub or Dub? You think the next 2 series is going to determine this? Nick, on you.
The Rocky series and what series? I'm sorry.
Braves.
This one, yeah.
I was trying to look at the Cubs' rest of their schedule. Yeah, I mean, pretty much, right? Like you got the Brewers after that. We're down here to the last, so we got to take 2 out of 3 from the Rock. Almost got to sweep the Rockies and then just pray that the Braves don't beat us 2 out of 3 in that series. Because I mean, this weekend and the next 3 games, that's going to decide it for us.
The Braves have already locked up the division. They've probably already locked up number 1 seed. Hopefully they'll be in cruise control so the Cubs can take like 2 out of 3 or something. But on to Jacob real
Let's
quick.
hope. Because then they got the Brewers after that.
Exactly.
The Brewers
I'm going to give
put
an old MMA reference.
Put this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Go
Jacob.
ahead.
Okay. I'm going to do an old MMA reference. You'll know who I'm talking about, Denzel. You remember Kevin Randleman, Monster?
Of course.
He was absolutely one of the most dominant looking and dominant physical specimens you could ever see. The Cubs right now are, this is the point I'm saying, the Cubs are basically Kevin Randleman. You think they should dominate because of the crew they've got, but they let everybody in. Kevin Randleman had so many, for his size, for his speed, and his athleticism, had so many decisions, and not everybody would give him a decision. He was only 14-12 in his career, but this is somebody who should have been like 1 loss.
Yeah,
he should have been Vitor Belfort after Vitor, he should have been him. But he allowed.
Well, I mean, Vitor was on that extra sauce.
I understand that, but what I was saying though is he should have been that, but he allowed so many decisions, which in that time and still to this day, they're not going to give him that to have a decision all the time. So you see something like this, and you lose more than you need to. The Cubs are Kevin Randleman. They are letting people they have no business letting into these little deals. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah, you're going to win sometimes, but sometimes they're going to slip through on you. And the thing is, the Cubs did that in the first half of the year, and they're doing it late. If they get the playoffs, you don't know, but they're not really ready for anything like this because they did not take advantage when they needed to. The Cubs needed to be Vitor Belfort where they dominated the majority, as you know, Watkins, where they dominate the majority, and every once in a blue moon you run into Randy Couture. Yeah. You need that type of level. You don't not the Kevin Randleman where you're completely athletic. You're better than this, but the decision makers get you sometimes.
Yeah.
Or then you run into someone better, and then your record's not as good as it should be. That's what the Cubs are right now. Is Kevin Randleman.
No, absolutely. A great comparison on that one.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're going to go ahead and end the show. Thanks, everybody. Shout out to Tyler Ingram for tuning into the show, and thanks to everybody else that's watching. And as of right now, does anyone have an update on the Cubs game?
It's 1-1.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Good
one. Very good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually perfect. So it's 1-1 now, tied?
Let's see. You talking about the Cubs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's tied 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1 in the fourth.
Okay, all right then. All right, well, hey, Nick, let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on the Bodkin Show. We got a show tomorrow night. It's our NFL Week 3 spread show, so we'll catch me there at 8 o'clock Central.
All right. And real quick, Jacob.
I'm not going to bring up my list of shows because that's insane, but I will say this. I am the Jake the Pundit on Twitter, Jake the Pundit 1 on TikTok. I am working on my Patreon. I am on Substack. I've got the articles there. I'm with South Florida Tribune. I am with Inscriber Magazine. I've got a bunch of things going on right now, and I will be sending a couple of clips of my acting really soon to you guys for you to see because they're coming.
All right, absolutely. And so for Jake the Pundit and Nick Bockins, I am Denzel Snipes. We will see you next week when we talk more Cubs baseball. We'll see you in 7. Later.